I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but you've left me no choice. I'm leaving. Uncontrolled high blood pressure is really serious, and lately you seem to really not care. I've been there for you since day one, and I know you think I'm gonna keep ticking. But no, my friend, I can quit whenever I want. Why can't we get back to the good times, when we were more active and ate more healthy foods, and you checked on me every once in a while? Is that too much to ask? I don't want to leave, but unless you stop ignoring me, what else am I supposed to do? Remember, when I quit, you quit. Sincerely, your heart.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Doing the minimum to control your high blood pressure isn't doing enough. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get your blood pressure to a healthy range before it's too late. Find out how at heart.org/blood pressure. Check, change, control. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Little roller up along first. Behind the stop up there. Here comes Knight in the mix. See you in Pittsburgh. Can't wait. All the baby is out of the field. He's going to go in the end zone. Looking, throwing in the end zone.
You're tuned into Game On with Josh Silverberg and Eric Bowe. Talking all things sports. It's
Game on!
Yeah, game on.
Game On, right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Alrighty then, ladies and gentlemen, we are live here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. This is Game On, joining you every single Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. I hope everybody is doing well. Check us out at worldwidesportsradio.com, YouTube, Instagram, Periscope, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everything and all that and so much more. Of course, my co-host with me, Mr. Eric Bowe, he is there. Speedy Petey is on the board. 631-672-3108 is the phone number to call. I'm trying to get through this day. This has been a day. It has been a day.
Your shirt looks a little wet, sir.
Yeah. I've been power washing my deck. Let's see, what time is it now? It is 6:05. I started at around 10 this morning. And I've been power washing constantly. I was going to do the patio in my house too. Don't think I'm going to get to that today. That's probably going to be a tomorrow thing. Going to replace the boards tomorrow that used to be replaced. And then I'm going to seal and stain the deck, and it will last you 2 years. I don't have to worry about this for 2 years.
Look at you.
I feel much better. It's a lot of work. I tell you, I thought I was going to be done with this in 4 hours, 5 hours. And I was just like, this is because you know what it is? Because Eric, you've been in my house, Speedy, you two, my deck is huge. So that's the problem. It's and a power washer is fabulous. It's a gas power washer. It's great. 3,600 PSI. It's awesome. The problem is the power washer with the hose, it only gets to one board at a time. And it's got all like the mold and the gook and the grime on it from the winter and all this. So it's, but Eric, how you doing, man?
You know what? I was going to complain, but after
better than me.
I was just, I feel like I shouldn't, probably.
Oh, and the other side,
to stay tuned.
It's already August. Summer's winding down.
What does that mean? Does it mean you got work soon?
Everybody's got to go back to work soon. I already got the school email this week about going back in a couple of weeks and everything of that nature. And we're looking forward to seeing you in a few weeks and all that. And I was just like, why is this happening? But it's just like, it's so funny because I'm always like, I always tell people, I'm like, I can't believe I got to go back to work in a few weeks. And the people are always telling me, they're like, wow, so sorry for you. You only had how many months off? Yeah, exactly. So, yep, exactly. So, and the horrible starting to work at 8, getting out at 3.
Count your blessings, sir.
Listen, but I can tell you, people who are not counting their blessings, and that are those organizations that are having a tough time signing their stud players.
Whoa, hold on. Time out here, ladies and gentlemen.
Did I transition there?
Did
Yes,
you
I
just
did.
do a transition
Yes, I did.
halfway with like a dad joke like I do?
Yeah, pretty much. I figured
Oh.
I'm like, really
Proud
quickly,
moment. Proud moment.
quickly. You know what? I wasn't really in like the biggest mood for coffee this morning. So I said, you know what? I said, and it was so crazy. I bought a Celsius and I left it in the fridge. I said, I'm gonna have this.
Oh wow! Where'd
Did
you
the
hear
job.
that?
Did the
Nice.
job.
We've heard of a Celsius. Nice.
But you know what? I don't think it has like a ton of caffeine in it as much as like a C4 would, or
It's
or may-
about what, 200 milligrams?
yeah. But so it did the job. It kept me going. All right, that I'm like I said, I'm in the middle of power washing, and then my hose went kaput during it, so I had to run to Lowe's, go get a new hose, with the spigot, and all that nonsense. And
Oh, what a day!
it was
You
a
had
day.
quite the day, I tell you. My Lantha. How did you do it? How did you manage?
Owning a home is a terrible thing.
And yet here you are, still dedicated.
I still wonder why.
On time for the show.
I tell you, it really is. But yeah, like I said, we have a lot of good stuff coming on.
About this,
We're gonna get into all the teams that have holdouts like McLaurin and Trey Hendrickson and Micah Parsons. We'll get to that.
How do we get Jalen Hurts or Saquon to hold out too? Asking for other fans in the NFC East.
Yeah, exactly. That's not going to be happening. We're also going to get into a little bit of the Major League Baseball with the updates. How about the Boston Red Sox cruising and then the New York teams not? We'll discuss it. And Giannis Antetokounmpo, possibly again on the block, even after the Mikal Bridges trade. Could the Knicks be involved in the trade again? And is Ben Simmons coming to the New York Knicks? So we'll get into all that. But of course, we start with the big headlines, and that is the NFL training camp season has started. It is underway. It's great. It also is depressing because that means schools are starting soon. Cold weather is coming, and I can't stand football because my team sucks every year. So I don't really care. But I just want to see growth. That's what I want to see. I want to see Aaron Glenn. And honestly, what is really nice is, in all seriousness, it's seeing guys like Victor Green and Jason Fabini and the former Jets that were there in the 90s and early 2000s that were really big integral parts of those teams with Pennington, those guys showing up again to training camp. And that is a nice, pleasant surprise to see. It has been good. It's interesting. And everything. And that I did not know it's Victor Green's son was on Sports Live Mounts 2 years ago. Look at that. So that has been really good to see. But the big stories, of course, the Washington Commanders with Terry McLaurin, the Dallas Cowboys with Micah Parsons, the Cincinnati Bengals with Trey Hendrickson. I believe, Job and Amount Speedy, if I'm not mistaken. You guys had a conversation yesterday about which one would be the bigger holdout for the team. So my question is, one, do these deals get done? And two, if they don't, what do we think is going to happen? Because, and by the way, that doesn't even include James Cook as well from the Buffalo Bills. He's another one. So that's another there. And the new Hendricks is actually holding out. Yes. But the new thing is McLaurin, Parsons, and Cook are all holding in. So, and Micah Parsons has made it very well known when, Brian Schottenheimer asked the entire team to wear their white jerseys for practice. And Micah Parsons said, no, thank you. I'm going to wear my dark blue one. And then right after Jerry Jones started talking to him. So that was a fun one. And everything.
Well, here's the thing. I want to start with the Parsons, Josh. I don't know. That's I think the curveball of the one that I don't necessarily think goes back to the team, for instance, right? And the only reason I'm saying that is look how much of the back and forth banter has gone on. More so with Jerry coming out and saying all these comments and saying all these things about Parsons.
He needs to stop talking.
Like at that point, if you're a player, right, getting ready for a contract extension, doing all these things, and the owner's coming out and basically bantering and throwing your name in dirt, how do you return to that, right? You formally requested the trade like Parsons did. That's the part that I think is going to be the most sour is Jerry Jones coming out. Oh, he's this. Oh, he's that. He can't stay on the field and all these things.
Which, by the way, is just completely inaccurate, not even true. I don't even understand where that came from, but sure.
But that's the part. Like, if you're the player, how do you return to that? How do you want to return to that?
You return to that by getting the money. Number one. Now,
if there's other teams that are going to give you that money, though.
But here's the thing, though. Parsons has no leverage. That's the issue. Parsons has no leverage. I think McLaurin has a slight bit of leverage because of the connection with Jalen Daniels, and you want to see Daniels continue to develop.
That's what I think does get done. I think a number that's close enough that both parties are happy. And
yeah, well, right now, what I read this morning is they were $8 million apart. What I read this morning, which is not small. They're $8 million apart, which it's a big number. It's not like 2 or 3 mil. 8 is a good gap.
Yeah, but guess what? When you're talking to only $8 million out of the entire, full contract length, it's not as far apart as it sounds like.
I mean, I guess of course, no, 100%. Right? Like, and I think the Washington one is the most important one.
$800, right? Like, okay, we'll figure that out.
I think the Washington one, to me, you can make the case to Dallas one with Parsons because he's the leader on the defense.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about McLaurin is the connection he has with Jaden Daniels and what they go into the NFC Championship last year. They were a game away from the Super Bowl.
If Terry's not on the team last year for whatever reason, do you think Jaden Daniels has the same year?
No, I don't think so. But I think I always view it as I think the quarterback makes the receiver. That's always been my heart to heart with the whole situation. And I mean, if you want a prime example, again, there's a lot of them. Go to when Greg Jennings was on the Green Bay Packers when Aaron Rodgers was in his prime, and Jennings left, got a mega deal from the Minnesota Vikings, and was a mitigated disaster in Minnesota because they didn't have a quarterback. And
I'm not going to disagree fully, but I'll have a rebuttal to you.
Sure.
Malik Neighbors.
I can't put Neighbors there yet.
No, but that's what I'm saying. You're saying the quarterback makes the wide receiver. I think Neighbors is the exception to that rule.
Well, I think there's another. Well, I mean, if you want to be clear, there's another receiver in New York that has the exception to that rule. Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson has had a quarterback since he's been drafted by the Jets.
Exactly. I give credit on that one.
Garrett Wilson has had Mike White and Tim Boyle throwing him the football, and Zach Wilson and over the hill Aaron Rodgers.
Well, let me speak now. Sticking back with Washington, though, tell me if this hypothetical makes sense for both teams, or how crazy I am. But and now again, it does say Eric, the guy who thinks he knows sports. But hypothetical, doesn't this make sense though? Washington and the Cowboys make a trade. Parsons for McLaurin.
No, because then they're in the same situation. Oh, by the way, Speedy, good call on the DeAndre Hopkins. How you didn't have that most in the beginning of his career.
For both teams in that sense,
It
though.
doesn't, because here's the issue. Dallas just put so much money into 2 of their receivers, a la CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, who they gave an extension to. So in the end, you're not going to...
Are we really that high on George Pickens being a high-volume wide receiver, too?
Well, here's the thing.
Compared to a Terry...
I understand that, but then what are you going to do? So you're going to pay... So you're telling me Dallas, instead of paying their best defensive player, they're just going to pay 3 wide receivers and land McLaurin and Pickens, and that's it. That's not a suffice way to run a business. You can't just pay your 3 receivers and say, "Oh, okay." And don't forget, Dak is also guaranteed, I think, 60-something million in the cap next year.
Correct.
So
But doesn't that help? Doesn't that help the Cowboys more though? Doesn't that
no,
help?
it really doesn't.
Doesn't it
Because
help
here's the thing: once they lose Parsons, what do they
Washington?
have on defense? What's there on defense? That you scream. Without Parsons, what do the Dallas Cowboys have left on defense that's going to scream at you and say this is a contender?
Good.
When every year the Cowboys are supposed to be in the Super Bowl contention.
Good. It worked. I just kind of used some reverse psychology there. There's your leverage if you're Micah Parsons.
I'm sure he's tried it. I think he's tried it.
Right?
Oh, no, Speedy, not Trayvon Diggs. Stop it. Speedy.
There you go. There's your leverage if you're Micah Parsons.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. What? And we haven't even get to Trey Hendrickson, by the way. I don't think people understand how huge Hendrickson is for the Cincinnati Bengals for their pass rush. That's
how long did it take for the Bengals to pay Jamar Chase? Arguably the best player in the NFL right now.
Now they're paying Jamar, and then they gave Higgins the extension too.
But that's what
not to mention Burrow.
How long did it take for the Bengals to pay him?
No, I understand that completely, and that's also why they had to let Joe Mixon, and that's also why they had to trade Joe Mixon because of the money. But the truth of the matter is, Joe Mixon was a huge loss in that offense last year. He was great with Houston. I like Joe Mixon. So to me, I view the whole thing as
year, though.
What'd you say?
The running game was not the big issue in Cincinnati.
It wasn't, but Mixon, I think what he did in Houston was a lot more favorable.
That's
right.
right.
I think the Bengals could have used it.
That's very.
I think that what they had, not to that they, Cincinnati's running game wasn't the worst, but the truth of the matter is, I feel like when I look at where the Bengals are, like Trey Hendrickson to me is the motor that gets that defense running. Without him, and by the way, kudos to Joe Douglas, by the way, signing Carl Lawson over him. And this is why Joe Douglas doesn't have a job anymore, doofus. He literally had a choice, and he chose Lawson over Hendrickson. Idiot. My point being is the biggest one out of the 3, and I only say it, people are going to say Parsons because of the way the defense is and the way the structure is on defense for the Cowboys. I say it's McLaurin because of the connection he has with Daniels, but it's also, and now Speedy could correct me on this if I'm wrong too, the receiver depth for Washington is so. Speedy, you can tell me if I'm wrong. The depth is so on it. It's not ideal where if you lose McLaurin, you have somebody on the team where that's going to replace the numbers that McLaurin gives you.
I kind of agree to that, right? Like if you lose McLaurin, you're losing a lot of your offense for sure. And I really do think at the end of the day they get the deal done. The one that concerns me more than that, to be honest, is the Hendrickson one. Why? Because what was the Bengals' biggest flaw last year was their defense. You take him away, basically, arguably your best defensive player, your defense is even worse this year. I agree.
Speedy is correct that Washington did trade for Deebo Samuel, but again, the problem is Deebo Samuel's one hit away from being out for 6 weeks.
Right. But again, if you lose Hendrickson on an already terrible defense, which way are you going?
But isn't it the same thing with Dallas with Parsons? If you lose Parsons on the Dallas defense, it's almost like where do you go?
Yeah, but what defense is better? What defense is out of the 2? Now, I'm not saying out of the entire NFL.
No, 100%. The Dallas defense depth wise is, I mean, as Speedy brought up, with Trayvon Diggs, it's sometimes the Cowboy fans tend to overrate.
Let's also be honest, though.
No, that's why
the positional depth that the Cowboys have had at the defensive ends and outside linebacker positions over the years have been tremendous.
By the way, we have horrible breaking news, by the way. After he just got the biggest contract for an offensive lineman last week, Rashawn Slater, Speedy, out for the year with a torn patellar tendon for the Chargers. After he just got the biggest contract for an offensive lineman in NFL history last week.
That is
when I was doing the deck today, I saw the breaking news from Schefter. He was down and they had to take a cart. And I said, oh, geez. And then, that's a killer for the Chargers because their offensive line is so. You lose your star tackle.
Well, look at their running back room right now. Right? Was it Najee Harris?
Harris, who they just signed, by the way, did wonders for me on my fantasy team last year in that big trade for Terry McLaurin.
Here we go again with
That's the trade.
Here we go.
That is the trade that the Chargers should figure out. We'll trade you Najee Harris for Terry McLaurin. Will you do it? No, this is not fantasy, you jackass.
Thank you.
But that's a killer for Slater, man. He's irreplaceable.
Yeah,
he's one of the top tackles in the NFL. That is and everything like that. Oh, Speedy. You know what though? The trade still worked out for me.
Speaking of trades and being terrible, I think some New York teams made some trades, and yet are still kind of on that terrible trend.
Oh, right? I got to tell you, it's been a interesting few weeks. Not just for the New York baseball teams, but baseball in general. We're starting to see some teams solidify their stance in their divisions. Mm-hmm. It looks like Milwaukee's taking a stranglehold on that NL Central over the Cubs. The Blue Jays, I believe, are 7 games on the Yankees, so they're taking a bit of a hold on the AL East. We know Detroit's had a hold on the AL Central. The divisions in the American League are done. I think it's going to be Toronto, Detroit, Houston, and then I think the 2 of the wild card spots I think are locked in. One is going to go to Seattle. One is going to go to Boston, I think. And then there's going to be one more spot. And I think it's going to come down to the Yankees and the Rangers for that wild card spot. And it's something we did not think about a month and a half ago. Listen, I will be the first one to say I was so dead wrong about the American League East. Yep. I thought it was a cakewalk. I admit it. I always admit when I'm wrong. I was wrong. And all the time. And I'm wrong a lot. I was very much wrong because it's also crazy. When you think about what the Red Sox did trading Devers, right? The Giants, when they got Devers, were a game out of first place in the NL West. They're now 8 games out of first place in the NL West. And the Red Sox are just cruising right now. They look
it got even better. Because guess what? How much money did they save in that Devers deal?
Oh, 100%.
And now, how much money did they potentially save with the deal to sign Roman Anthony?
They signed Roman Anthony, and I got to tell you this. And I'm telling you this right now. With the way the Red Sox go, I am telling you, the Red Sox, to me, are going to be players for Kyle Tucker. They will be players for Kyle Tucker. They will be players for him. It's going to come down to the Cubs and the Yankees. And I think what the Red Sox just did was we're going to throw our hat in. Because remember, they didn't sign Soto, but they offered him $600+ million. Mm-hmm. They did offer him $600 million plus. So I think they're going to do 2 things. I wouldn't be shocked. I think Bregman's going to go back to Boston. I think they're going to re-sign Bregman to a new deal. And I thought Tucker was going to stay in Chicago. And I still think he is going to stay in Chicago. I think he's going to stay with the Cubs. I think the Red Sox, to me, have jumped a little bit in front of the Yankees. because I think just to where the team's core and structure is, but you also have to remember for next year, the Yankees are going to get Garrett Cole back and they're going to get guys back. But I think it's going to come down to the Cubs, the Red Sox, and the Yankees for Tucker. And again, I think in the end, I think Tucker's going to stay in Chicago, and I think he should stay in Chicago. It's a big market, big baseball town. Team's really good. He's him and PCA are the faces of that franchise right now.
Hey, you got to throw Seiya Suzuki into that too.
Yeah, Suzuki's having a great season, and Imanaga. Imanaga's been great too. But I view, so I think that's where the American League, and I think the National League is almost the same thing. I think it's the Dodgers are locked in the West, the Brewers are locked in the Central. I really do think the Phillies might pull away and win the NL East, and then you're going to have the Padres and the Cubs in the wild card spots. I think it's going to come down to the Mets and the Reds for the last wild card spot. But
Mets are currently 3 games up in the wild card.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. I was talking to Speedy about it earlier today. And a lot of people just don't think the Reds have enough starting pitching, but also the Reds just don't have enough firepower with their bullpen to get over the hump just yet. They think this was a bridge year this year, and then next year they'll maybe build on De La Cruz, and they'll build on with Francona and everything like that. But you're looking, it's just so crazy that a month and a half ago, it's crazy, not even 2 or 3 months ago, everybody was saying Subway Series, World Series. Subway Series, World Series. The Mets need to get their act together with their lineup. The pitching has not been great, but honestly, this week, other than Montas, the starting pitching did their job. Minaya was good. Peterson was good. Clay Holmes was good.
Gavin Williams.
And, all those guys for the Mets. What did you say? Williams? Oh, God. Okay. They all, for the Mets, their starting pitching was not the problem, and their bullpen was not the problem either. We know what their bullpen is now. It's one of the best in baseball, but you got to get there with a lead. It's the lineup. Since the All-Star break, Lindor's hitting, I think, 179, Soto 166, Alonso 172, and Nimmo 232. And that's since the All-Star break. And that, to me, is just not going to cut it. It's a problem going forward because what you're now doing is you're opening yourself up to a problem where it's now in the psyche of the players. And I hear Mendoza, and I like Carlos Mendoza. Listen, I like Mendoza. What he did for us last year was fabulous. I do think Mendoza's a good manager, but I keep constantly saying this. He comes from the Yankee tree with the Aaron Boone isms, where it's the battle, and it's the ultimate player's manager. And it's so crazy. Last night, I watched, Speedy, you might remember this, I think it was 2014, the Terry Collins press conference, where Terry Collins, it's a famous press conference where Terry Collins basically said the names on their backs and the name on the front shows me that they're major league ball players, and we're going to have days like this. But if these guys need to go out there and they want to compete, because if they don't, I'll find somebody from AAA that will, and they'll be glad to be in this clubhouse, calling the team out. I would like to see, and I'm not saying Mendoza's, even when Aaron Boone bumped his fist on the table when he said it's right in front of us and everything like that, I need something. I need something from Mendoza. I need some fire from Mendoza. He looks defeated right now. He looks like a man that's out of options, that he doesn't know where to go, where to turn with this lineup. And look, Eric Chavez and Jeremy Barnes are both going to be gone after this year. I think it's just, it's just somebody's going to take the fall. It's going to be the hitting approach. It's going to be Chavez. He'll be gone. Which I still don't know how Eric Chavez is a hitting coach to begin with. He's like a career 225 hitter anyway. That approach to me, I'm like, what gives him the right to be a hitting coach besides that? Somebody's got to take the fall here. And if they don't make the playoffs, Mendoza's going to be on the hot seat next year already. That's the reality. Because you don't go from 2 games in the NLC, from 2 games from the World Series to signing Soto
Yep.
and not making the playoffs. And you're thinking, yeah, this is, this is because my other issue is, and Eric, in a minute, my other issue is, why is it that guys like Mauricio, Alvarez, Beatty, these guys crush it in AAA, and I know it's AAA, and I get it, but why are they crushing it in AAA, and then they come up here to the Major League roster, and it's, we forgot how to hit, our approach is awful, we don't understand it. I was at the game with my wife and my son Tuesday night. They scored the 2 runs in the second inning, and they did nothing the rest of the game. The last 14 Met batters were retired. And to me, it's a problem. And even yesterday, they almost got no hit. And I was hoping they would get no hit yesterday. Because somebody needs to send a message to this team that says, everybody was saying we need to trade for this guy to the deadline, that guy for the deadline, this guy for the deadline, and that guy. No. The players that they have are so much better and more capable than this. You think Juan Soto's a 250 hitter? You think Lindor is a 245 hitter? You think Nimble's a 260? Come on. I mean, it's they're better than what they've shown. That and that to me is the issue. And as far as the Yankees go,
I got you there.
yeah, I mean it's I'm trying to figure them out at this point. To me, it's weird. I don't get it. And the Devin Williams thing needs to stop.
Josh, you know what it is? They're finding new ways to hit rock bottom, right? They're finding new ways to lose. Whether it's they can't put a clean game together. If the hitting is on, the defense is off. If the hitting and defense is on, the pitching is off. If the pitching is on, hitting is off, right? You saw in that Miami series, Edward Cabrera and Yuri Perez had their way with them, right? The first game, you're up 9-6, 9-6 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
9-5, 6-0, and you bring in all those newly acquired arms. They lose that one. Then you go to Texas. You got the lead. The big guys come in, do their job. Devin Williams comes in, gives up the home run to Jock Peterson.
Back-to-back days, and it's crazy that they went back to him again.
But here's the yeah, exactly. And that's the crazy part is because guess what? You have now 4 guys, including Williams, who could be the closer. So, okay, one doesn't have it right now. We switch gears. Bednar, the Yankees finally did it. And what happened? 5-out save. Cool. Good night. See you tomorrow. Right? Devin Williams, I think, is kind of better served as a setup man, maybe in the 7th inning, but definitely 8th inning, possibly 2. You saw when that happened earlier in the year. Luke Weaver became the closer. Devin Williams became the setup man. And what happened? Devin was lights out. So much better. He was calling his own pitches. He still is, apparently. But the issue lies there that you don't have that. The Yankees' successful seasons have come with a strong bullpen and a closer that comes into the game where the other team is like, this is going to be tough. This is probably game over. You don't have that feeling this year. You didn't really have that feeling last year. I think Bednar can hopefully help with that feeling, obviously, and get that done. But I think Bednar needs to start being the closer. You got to move the guys up a little bit. Duvall could be the setup. Move Duvall to the 6th, 7th, whatever. That's fine. I think the Yankees bullpen overall will be fine. Now you look at the offense, for instance. The offense, you're just getting Judge back. Judge has been taking a little time to adjust, get his hitting down again after missing some time, right? Bellinger's starting to go cold. Wells has been cold since
June.
Exactly. So basically since summer. Volpe until late hasn't really been hitting, except for the Miami series. Now all of a sudden he's a power hitter again after the All-Star break. but they're not doing the little things again. You would have thought that bringing in Caballero, you brought in the depth pieces. Like, think of this. Yankee fans, media networks, all these things. The Yankees had a great trade deadline. The trade deadline was great. Cashman did awesome. And guess what? He might have. In fact, he probably did. Which means now if something happens, the team continues to falter, that's when you got to start looking at the manager and you have to start looking at the team itself and say, what happened? How are we underperforming this much, right? McMahon, happy with the deal. Great at-bats, quality at-bats. I wouldn't be surprised if give Ben Rice a little more. You try to get him in the line more. If he needs to start being your starting catcher for a little bit longer, give Austin Wells some time to adapt and adjust and get back. Because, again, with Austin Wells, it's not just the hitting. The defense is slacking with him. Yeah. I would not be hard-pressed. I would not be upset if they pulled a trick out of the Mets playbook, send him down to AAA for a moment. Get his mind right. Get his bat right. You're coming right back up when you're all set. Why not? Do it. Get it done that way. It should have been done with Volpe, but unfortunately the Yankees do not think that way. Volpe is the man. He's the golden child for them with that. So, again, you have to keep the confidence with the younger guys like that. There's going to be growing pains, but this team is good enough to not be playing this crappy that every time a game comes on, it's just you lose your appetite. It's frustrating, and I think that's the part that's the most frustrating is because the team is better than this.
No, 100%. I think that is
that's the biggest, what is going on here, right? Bellinger, Grisham. The Yankees have 3 outfielders with 20 home runs. Could finish with 4 outfielders with 20 home runs if Dominguez goes on a little streak, for instance, right? Goldschmidt. If Goldschmidt's getting a little up there and he needs some breathers, guess what? Move Belly back to first for a couple of games. You have the depth, you have the pieces now, right? Like there's so much the Yankees can mix and match with the way that their roster is constructed. They have a lot of guys who play multiple positions. You got to keep the hot bat. At some point, the analytics have to kind of not fully take a back seat, but kind of you have to do the sniff and the eye test, no?
I agree with you. No, 100%. I think that is what needs to be done. I look at what the Red Sox are, and the Red Sox are relentless right now. And maybe Devers wasn't the best guy in the clubhouse. Maybe they got rid of that and they said, okay, we're good.
Think about the Sox.
But it's also Roman Anthony's been, everything.
The young core is stepping up tremendously, right? Think about it. And correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Christian Campbell still in the minors right now?
Yep.
He figures it out for that Boston team too. He comes back up. That team's going to be that much better. Right now, their pitching has been outstanding lately. Like Bayo has been stepping up, right? Like all the guys that were big question marks for Boston, you didn't know which way they were going to be, have been stepping up tremendously. You got to give credit where credit's due. The entire, even the bullpen, right? Chapman looks like a resurgence of Chapman.
Yeah, I think it's been a whirlwind for the New York teams right now, but that's why the season is not ending today.
Correct. It is American.
The season is not ending today, so we need to take that into account. But we also need to, the eye test, as Errol always likes to say, the eye test. And what you're seeing is, and I know Errol was on point with saying he thought that they should have traded at the deadline, sellers, not be buyers. And to some extent, I agreed with him at that because the farm system is just. I know you didn't,
but Eric, give me a chance to explain why at the end.
Yeah, I think the issue is when you're 27th or 28th in baseball in your farm system, and I guess you could kind of see, what this team's going to do in the postseason. You know what I'm saying? Like my view on how the way the Yankees are set up right now, it's maybe they get in, but it's what are you going to do in that run? Do you know what I mean? Like what are you going to do? And I think what I would have done if I was the Yankees maybe is sell Devin Williams. You're not going to bring Bellinger back. You're not going to bring Goldschmidt back. So trade those guys. Trade Chisholm even. Trade those guys. Get a good value back for those guys. And go get Kyle Tucker next year. You're going to get Garrett Cole back. And go that route and be right back in it again. If the Mets were in that position, I would have said, if the Mets were not in it, I would have said, you can't trade Soto and Lindor because of their contracts. But I would have said, all right, trade Alonso. Trade Pete and get good value back for that. Trade certain aspects, certain players, trade Senga. You know what I'm saying? Like trade these guys, get the value back that you need for these guys, recoup your farm system and go that route. But I mean, I think the Mets are in a better spot than the Yankees are right now because not just with the now, but it's also with the farm system. The Mets have a much deeper farm system than the Yankees do, so it's a different dynamic. The Mets have 3 starting pitchers that could be up here as soon as next year in McLean, Sproat, and Jonathan. And then you also have Carson Bench, who's one of the top outfield prospects now in baseball. So, and that's where you have depth. You know what I'm saying? You have the depth to be able to, where you don't need to do something like that. The Yankees don't have that depth. They have the 2 guys. They have Jones and they have who's the other kid? George Lombard. That's really it in regards to the top guys that they have, and in regards to the rankings. That's why people were saying.
But here's the thing. Here's why I agree to a point, but I disagree. Right? Because of the kind of trades and the trades that were made from the Yankees, for instance, right? Trading Devin Williams, you know what? I give you credit. Absolutely. Could have been done. Could have recouped some that way.
Oh, I would have 100% traded him.
However, the trades that the Yankees made this year helped them off season and the team next year, for instance, right? McMahon under contract again next year. Bednar under contract again next year.
But my question is though, really quickly, I'll let you finish. I'll let you
finish. Under contract again.
No. Well, Caballero, I mean, is a fascinating one. But I mean, my thought process is okay. But you had McMahon. But you had McMahon under contract. But it's like if Bregman's a free agent, wouldn't you rather Bregman than McMahon?
Yes and no.
Yes and no.
Because think if the Yankees,
Bregman's one of the best third basemen in baseball. Of course, it's a yes.
I'm still sour, I guess.
Oh God, yeah, but you're willing to accept Kyle Tucker.
Wasn't exactly on those teams at that point.
But but still went through the system.
Just saying.
Speedy suffered from Josh Donaldson syndrome.
But think about it.
I always forget he was on the Yankees.
The deals that they made though have helped them for next year, right? They're not that far away.
Because they're gonna lose Williams. They're gonna lose Weaver.
But you're also talking about signing, right? The Yankees are playing in the higher waters, obviously tax, luxury tax, and all that stuff too. Obviously, signing Bregman, does it push him that much further? Where it's worth going to that next level. Whereas McMahon is very serviceable, Gold Glove caliber defense. Some timely hitting and whatever else. Like, okay, yeah, I can stand behind that. That makes sense, for instance, right? The rest of the team that they made, sure. Now that it gives them more flexibility to go after a Tucker instead of a Bregman, right? It gives them flexibility to go other bullpen help and starting pitching, right? It gives them that flexibility by getting a McMahon to not have to spend on Bregman, for instance. Like the trades they made are more, I think, are more for the future than it is for this year, right? Because again, you're addressing the needs. There was no doubt the glaring needs for the Yankees: outfield, corner outfield, third base, bullpen, and we'll call it starting pitching, for instance, right? The team next year, guess what? You signed Bellinger back. That's that's phenomenal. You're able to get Cody to come back, right? Then you're already covered at third base. You have Garrett Cole coming back. We'll say what, All-Star-ish break, maybe after. You get that going. Guess what? Your team is a little bit deeper than it is this year.
Yeah.
And for a longer period of time. Whereas, like you said, you don't make the trade for McMahon and then you save that money and you try to sign Bregman. Who's to say Bregman signs with the Yankees, number one? But now you sign Bregman, that takes you out of a Kyle Tucker. It takes you out of high-end reliever. It takes you out.
I mean, not necessarily. The Yankees are so close to the luxury tax already. Well, they're actually over the luxury tax.
But that's what I'm saying. It's
but,
kind of.
But here's the note: if you sign Tucker, you're already over the tax. It's like, all right.
So
just
who
sign
would
Bregman
you though? If I'm the Yankees, I'd much rather Tucker than Bregman. No.
Why not just get both? You're already over the tax.
Because there's certain levels they won't go to. I mean, granted, listen, I was ecstatic and happy the Yankees were playing in the 700 mil plus waters for Soto in the offseason. That was a huge wow. Okay, great. You know, which kind of.
And to be honest with you, I think if Soto's on the Yankees now, the Yankees are not in this spot. I don't think they're in this spot. I don't because Soto. Because Judge got hurt last year and Soto still carried the offense last year.
Correct. But then do you think the Yankees still sign Max Fried? I'm not so sure. And without Max Fried,
I'd rather Soto than Fried. Have you seen Fried the last month?
I understand that. But now you're talking about.
Listen to me. I am always picking an everyday player over a starting pitcher. It's not even close.
I do. But then you're relying on Warren, Schlittler, Newman, the back end of your starter pitching, basically, right? And listen, I'm still worried about Schlittler and Warren towards the season, right? And then you take away all of Max Fried, who's been the ace for the Yankees, and you add Stroman in that spot.
If I'm choosing between Soto and Fried, it's not close. It is not close.
It's Bellinger and Fried.
It's not even a close debate. It should not even be a debate.
I get it. But again, you still need some starting pitching at the same time.
Of course. I think the
hypotheticals are fun.
I mean, I think David Stearns got very cocky in the offseason. To go back to the Mets for a second, he got very cocky and said, okay, look at what we did with Severino last year. Look at what we did with Quintana last year. Look at what the development of Peterson's been. We could sign anybody and put them in the lab, and it'll work. And I think Stearns is now realizing, maybe that's not the route.
Hold on. You did say in the beginning of the show that you do admit when you're wrong, right? Because I can recall quite a few times on this show someone gloating that the Mets pitching staff.
Well, Holmes is still having a nice season. Yeah, Holmes is still
coach and everything is the cream of the crop, the best.
It is because the reality is this: Manaya's working his way back. David Peterson's an all-star this year. Senga will be fine. I'm not worried. I think the problem with Senga is he's gotten hurt so much in the past. He's trying to change things up in regards to torque, motion, windup, and it's not working. And unfortunately for Senga, he's gonna have to go back to what he was doing with a risk. Yes. The risk of being he could get hurt again because it's not going to work. Holmes, listen, I mean, despite not having the greatest year this year, Holmes is still 9-6 with a 3.4 ERA. I didn't think that was going to be.
You know what my worry is with Holmes though? It's going to be the innings. It's going to be the caps.
The truth is when the postseason starts, if they make it, you're gonna have Mania, Peterson, Senga locked 1,
Yeah.
2, 3. It's
To
a
me,
matter of who you're going to go with that fourth starter. Who is that fourth one going to be?
but
Is
Josh,
it going to be a Clay Holmes that you go with and maybe you built up as like a bullpen kind of game? Or do you move Holmes to the bullpen and you bring up a McLean or a Sprout? You bring them up and you see what they got and you put Holmes in the bullpen then. And
but
you do
here's
that.
it was the first sentence you said. If they make the playoffs, don't you want your staff to be able to go in a playoff push, right? Like you want Holmes, you want your best pitchers to kind of help put you in that position to make the playoffs.
Well, I think the best. Well, listen, I mean, Holmes right now is their fourth or fifth best pitcher, right? Like that's
That's what I'm saying. Now say
I mean, Mania, Peterson, and Senga are very good 1, 2, 3. That's the reality.
I have the same worry for the Yankees with Schlittler and Warren is how.
No, but the Yankees don't really have to worry about that because if the Yankees get into the postseason, you're going to have Fried, you're going to have Rodon, and then you're going to have Heel.
Yes.
Like it's the same thing. It's 1, 2, 3. Then that's fine. It's a matter of finding that fourth starter. It's the same thing with the Mets. But the reality is that fourth starter is only going to pitch one time in a playoff series. That's the reality of the whole situation.
You have to get there. You're still in the middle of a playoff race.
Of course, but I view it as listen.
There's
Holmes had a good outing his last start.
Mm-hmm.
He went 5 innings. He had 2. His ERA is still 3.45. He's had maybe 2 horrific starts this year. The San Diego start, and I forget another one he had. Like Holmes has not been awful. That's the thing.
But if the innings start to come into effect,
but I mean it's August and the innings have not really been an issue though. That's the thing. It's already August. It's not.
You talking about
had this conversation in May, June. It's now the middle. It's almost the middle of August, and it's like we're still talking about this innings thing. I'm like, well, why are we still having this conversation when the innings are still not really that big of an issue?
August, the beginning of September.
Well, that's why I've said constantly, and I would not be surprised if they bring up McLean or they bring up Sprout. It's probably gonna be McLean because McLean's very much ready to go. Like McLean and Sprout are both ready for the majors. They're both ready. It's just a matter of Stearns is always taking his sweet time with the prospects. That's always what he does, Stearns. He's clearly doing that with Tong and Ben. Like we know Tong and Bench are very much ready for AAA, right? Like Jonah Tong leads all the minors in strikeouts with 154, while Bench is hitting 332 in AA right now, right? And then you even have Ryan Clifford, who's on pace at over 30 home runs in AA this year. So like those 3 are ready for AAA. It's just this is what Stearns does. He waits and he waits and he waits. And to this certain extent, the Yankees have always done the same thing. They wait for guys, and it's like, well, they're ready to go. Let's go. Like Nolan McLean should be up. Like Nolan McLean should be in this rotation. Like I should not have to see Frankie Montas pitch anymore. When the Mets signed Montas, I didn't like it. You remember, I didn't like it. I said, well, maybe the lab will fix him, but I still wasn't happy about it. And then I said, when he was getting bombed in his rehab starts, giving up 6 runs a game, I said, I do not. I said it on the show. I do not want to see this guy in the rotation right now. He's not ready. He's not ready. He's not going to do anything to help this organization if he's giving up 6 runs a game in AAA. What does he do? And he comes here, and he's been in a mitigated disaster. The game is over by the 2nd inning. The team has no shot. It's over. That's why I'm like, I understand next year you have him for next year, but I would just cut him at this point. He's giving you nothing. He's not going to do anything for you. And just let McLean take the spot. And then when McGill is healthy, put McGill in the bullpen, go that route because McGill was pretty good for the team at the end of the year last year and in the postseason out of the bullpen. So I would just put him in that bullpen to be Speedy. Remembers, hold on, Speedy, pop in for a second.
What do you got?
Do you remember in 2006, the Mets had those Bradford, Feliciano, Heilman, Wagner. Was a great bullpen. Roberto Hernandez, great bullpen. Duano Sanchez, but there was a key cog that nobody ever talked about that was so good for the team that year, and that was Darren Oliver.
Yes.
Darren Oliver was a guy that was an innings eater and always gave you consistently 4 innings, 5 innings. That's what I think Tyler McGill should be put in as, that kind of pitcher, so he could eat the innings. Because we know at least next year when the Mets have a lead in the 6th inning, you're going to have Soto, Rogers, Helsley, Garrett, Diaz, so on and so forth. Like, you're going to have the lockdown moments to do that. But like, if it's like the pitcher doesn't have it and it's 3-0 in the 3rd inning, and you're seeing like, say Clay Holmes is pitching, right, Eric? Clay Holmes is the pitcher on that one starting. You pull him and you let Tyler McGill be the guy and just eat it. You know what I mean? But he's going to give you 3 or 4 innings. That's the route I think the Mets should take with the pitching. Like, Frankie Montas is not going to be on the, if they make the playoffs, nor should he be on the postseason roster. He shouldn't be. He doesn't have a place here. And we saw it in the rehab starts. He was getting up 6 runs a game. And every Met fan on the planet was like, you're really going to put this guy in the rotation now? He can't get out of the 3rd inning in AAA.
You know what, though, Josh? There's a lot of things that we can keep talking about these New York baseball teams with, because it's the suffering and the rock bottom and the times you don't think it can get worse and it gets worse continues to happen.
Well, I think this was just unexpected.
Well, that's the biggest thing.
Because 2 months ago, I mean, we were all on here talking about Subway Series.
But here's the other thing. Another thing that's expected or unexpected, obviously, is Giannis potentially being traded.
Yep. And the odds.
Before we do our
yeah. So I was looking it up. This is funny. Everybody goes to Poly Market now, right? Everybody goes to Poly Market. Poly Market as of today, 70% chance he's not traded, 16% chance he goes to the Knicks, 4.3 Spurs, 3.8 Raptors. So, because remember, they're in the Juan Soto thing. Everybody was reading the Poly Market. Everybody was doing that.
Again, I mean, no news to report on that. Obviously, Knicks are lurking, Bucks are lurking to see what they're going to do. Basically, it's going to come down to Giannis. Does Giannis want to get moved or not? Right? The preseason, everything's still young for that, so we're kind of in that very beginning stage of it. I would think, right? That's the part that So I'm curious to keep an eye on that, obviously.
Well, the thing of it is that we hear Brooklyn, we hear Miami, we hear San Antonio, blah, 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 all these guys. The problem is they don't have a player like Karl Anthony Towns that they can deal. That the Knicks have.
And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, maybe Miami with Tyler Hero, but the truth is, what I've heard is Giannis doesn't want to play in Miami because he doesn't want to play under Pat Riley.
But also, I wouldn't be surprised if this turns into a 3-team trade, right? Like if it happens to be 3 teams involved to make this trade happen, that wouldn't surprise me either.
No, and again, I think there's things that have still surfaced. I mean, it's not going away.
No.
And the truth is, they also signed Bridges. Mikal Bridges at a weird time because they signed him at a time where they could trade him at the deadline, if need be. Whereas they signed him after, I think it was August 6th. You can't trade him at the deadline. You got to wait a year.
They also got
that, but I think
deal, though, and that's a friendly deal he took.
Yeah, he took that. Brunson took that.
Yep.
The only one that got greedy and took all the money was OG. But to me, there's a part of me that still does think Giannis is going to make his way. All Giannis has to do is just tell the Bucks, listen, I want to go play for the Knicks.
Yep.
Can you get me there? That's all it takes. And Milwaukee will be like, listen, you won a championship for us. You did a lot for us. You did a lot for the city. We'll oblige. You know, the Knicks will give you Towns. They'll give you Kolick. They'll give you possibly Deuce McBride. They'll give you, Josh Hart could be in another trade or some. Like, you could go the route of doing that. I just don't think you want to completely, because I like what the Knicks did this offseason, getting who they get? They got Clarkson and how do you say his name? Yabusele?
Yep. Gershon.
Yabusele. What I call him? Yabusele? Yabusele. And then there's also reports that they're going to probably sign Ben Simmons to the minimum for the last roster spot. So, which I mean, listen, your bench then would be what? Simmons, McBride, Clarkson, Yabusele, Josh Hart, like,
correct.
That would be your bench, which I think is a really good bench. I think getting Clarkson and Yabusele is just big gets to add with McBride. And like I said, even if they got Ben Simmons, we make fun of Ben Simmons. Here's the reality. The reality is he's still one of the best defensive guards in the league. And he's also still one of the better playmaking guards in the league. He can't shoot, but he can run. He can run. He can run an offense. It's like he could be the point guard.
You know what?
But
Guess what?
Yep. What?
Guess what? All that could be hearsay because the Bucks can say, "Guess what? We're not trading him, and you're better than that." For instance, right?
Yeah, sure.
You know what? Get into it. You're better than that. Why don't you go?
All right. So my you're better than that is quite simple. It is, to me, I have to go with the WWE with SummerSlam, and bringing Brock Lesnar back. I don't think it was the best PR move. I don't think it was the best move to make. I don't think it was everything of that nature. To me, it was tough to see and everything. So to me, WWE, you're better than that.
For me, I'm going to go with Josh. We went to an independent baseball game last week.
Right? Yes, we did. Long Island Ducks, baby.
We tried to get some game balls. We tried to get some, merch, whatever. We were right behind the dugout. But it's not the players that I want to give that you're better than that too. It's actually the league, the team. I don't even know who gets it. But you can't dress your players in a full team uniform.
Those boxcars don't get any merch.
Come on. Maryland boxcars, you guys deserve better than that. You deserve better than that. And whoever's in charge of that, come on, you're better than that.
Eric, Eric, I know you have to run, so go do your thing.
Where could you listen to us, Josh?
Yes, I was gonna say, Speedy. We'll let you do you're better than that. Eric, I know you got to go. So
yeah, Eric, have a good one, man. Have a good weekend as well. And my you're better than that is simply that this WNBA dildo shenanigans. Like there's now, I think, 5 of them now that have been thrown on the court over the last couple of weeks. So yeah, whoever's throwing that, I think they caught one of the guys finally. But please stop, for the love of God, throwing dildos on the court.
Yeah, really. Thank you so much to the listeners and everything like that. WorldWideSportsRadio.com, YouTube, Instagram, Periscope, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Check out Job in the Mouth on TikTok. And you can also watch the show on Mondays and Wednesdays at 7:30 and everything like that. Always fun. Of course, Snowman in the Morning. The Weekend Crunch with Errol and Speedy on 103.9 FM, the Line News Radio Network at 7 o'clock. That's always fun. Speedy, thank you so much as always. Eric, any last words before we go?
Go Snipers. Softball team has playoffs this week. Rooting for them. Let's go.
Really quickly, by the way, before we go, shout out to Smithtown St. James. I believe, did they make the Little League World Series?
Yeah, they're, I think, playing tomorrow. Jabba was mentioning it yesterday.
Yep, so they got
let's go.
Good for them, man. That's awesome. We'll be rooting for you here on Long Island, and that's great. Thank you so much to the fans for listening and watching us. We'll talk to you next week. I have a deck that I got to go finish power washing, so we're going to go do that. Have a good weekend, everybody. Enjoy your sports, and we'll talk to you next week. This has been Game On Live on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. For Speedy Petey, For Eric Bowe, I'm Josh Silverberg. Have a great weekend and enjoy your sports.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Take a look under your bed.